Whenever there is a communication breakdown in our relationships, most of the time, the question that's automatically there for us is, how do I get my point across, right? How do I say what I want to say, right? And right alongside that, there's usually a complaint that's something like, they're not listening to me. One thing that many people never look at, rather than asking the question, how am I going to say what I want to say, is to ask the question, how am I going to listen in this conversation, right? What is the quality of the attention that I'm going to bring to what they have to say? Do they feel heard? Do they feel appreciated? Do they feel like they're able to get their message across to me? Now, there's a lot of conceptual things that we could say about the way that it is that human beings listen. But I want to start with a seemingly simple practice that is at the foundation of being a good listener, which is the practice of presence. So if you have created a real commitment to listening to the other person, before you can build to higher levels of listening, like listening with real curiosity, or listening with positive intent, or listening with empathy and compassion, before you can get to any of those, you've got to start with the foundation of presence. Really being there, having your attention on the person that's in front of you, and being so dialed into what it is that they're saying that you're getting each word as the person is saying those things. Now, the way that you access presence is to ask yourself the question, where am I not present? And the moment you ask yourself, now here's the thing that's cool about that question, is the moment you ask yourself that question, all of a sudden again, that has you be present, because right then and there in the moment, you're looking for, where am I not present right now? So that's the first cool thing about that question. And then the second thing about that question is that there's always something, whenever you're not present, there's always something that is serving as a distraction, right? Something where your attention is gone other than the here and now, other than what's being said to you, that you can identify and then let go of. And when we're not present, there's one of two things that are happening. Either there's some external distraction, such as, an email notification popping up, or, our cell phones ringing, or somebody walking into the office and interrupting us, right? And this is the more insidious type of distraction, the one that it takes a high degree of mindfulness to notice and to be able to let go of, is we have some thought, right? The person says something and that triggers some memory, right? Or some emotion, right? Or some experience from the past, or some concern about the future. And all of a sudden, our attention is on that thing, and we're no longer fully listening to, we're no longer fully present to what it is that they're saying, because our attention is either divided between what they're saying and the thought that we're having, or completely on the thought that we're having, and would completely go away. If you can start to see that, which, by the way, this is one of the reasons that I really encourage leaders in particular to take on some sort of mindfulness practice, right? To take on some sort of meditation practice, where you get good at becoming aware of your thoughts, right? Becoming aware of all of the different things that clutter your experience and get in the way of your attention, right? And you're taking conscious control of where it is that you're choosing to put your attention in any moment. So being present is putting your attention on the here and now, and noticing whenever some thought, and the thought is usually something about the past or something about the future, noticing when your attention goes onto a thought, right? And not letting it hook you and take you down whatever trail of a roller coaster that sometimes our minds can take us on, when we're not mindful, when we're not present of what's going on with us. If you really get committed to practicing presence, for most people, they at least need to start with some sort of external practice, some sort of external trigger to cause themselves to get present again. One thing is when you have external distractions going on, look, account for that, right? Set up your environment ahead of time so that you can be as present as possible. And look, the environments that we work in are dynamic. There's other people involved, right? But you've got to have the integrity, you've got to have the intentionality and the wherewithal to manage different things when you have interruptions happening, right? If somebody walks into your office, be willing to say, can I handle this real quick, right? And turn to the person and give that person your attention, right? And you might say to them like, hey, I actually can't be interrupted right now. Is this an emergency? No, great, thank you. Please come back in 15 minutes, right? And then you can fully be present with the other person again. So that's one thing, is you having the intentionality and empowering yourself to handle distractions as they're coming your way and not just reacting to them or submitting to them. The other one, and this one is particularly important when you're dealing with your mind, when you're dealing with thoughts, is to create some sort of way of acknowledging when you get taken out, when you go somewhere else, when you stop listening for a moment, right? Even if it's just for a moment. Right? One thing that you'll often hear me say is, hey, can you say that again? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening for just a moment. I really want to hear what you're saying. Can you start over? When people say that to me, it's always so refreshing, right? It feels like so authentic. It's so relatable, and it also communicates to me that that person actually is really committed to and interested in what it is that I have to say, right? So you ask the question, where am I not present? Right? And then when you notice it, the moment that you notice it, you acknowledge it. Like, oh, hey, I wasn't present just then. Okay, now I'm present again. So if you're committed to taking communication to the next level, right? If you're committed to having your listening, the way that you listen to people really make a difference, the practice of presence is a necessary foundation to be able to create all of the other levels and possibilities for listening in your relationships in your life. Thank you so much. Have a great day.